Good morning. It wasn't easy growing up as a chubby Nuyorican girl from the South Bronx. Between getting bullied for my weight and going through my own family difficulties while growing up, I had to mature pretty early. My name is Melissa. I'm 23 years old, and I've dreamed of becoming a singer-songwriter since I was 5. But I grew up in an environment that didn't make it easy for young girls to reach for their dreams the way I always wanted to. I've seen many kids I've grown up with turn to drugs, become pregnant as teenagers, or get shot and killed. Thankfully, my parents refused to let me give up on myself. Even though I had supportive parents, I had my hard times. My family wasn't the wealthiest. I grew up feeling pretty lonely because my older brother is autistic and I couldn't have the same brother-sister relationship that regular siblings had. I also dealt with health issues. I was morbidly obese for the majority of my life. I had terrible acne, and throughout high school, I used to get these crippling cramps to the point where I was immobile and crying in pain. I had heard that birth control could help lessen the pain of cramps and also help to clear up my acne. That was when I got my first introduction to the Mount Sinai Adolescent Health Center. My high school had a Mount Sinai clinic inside the building, so I made my first appointment to get educated on birth control. They talked me through my different options, and they told me about the main clinic on 94th Street, where I made an appointment. The first time I arrived at the Adolescent Health Center, I was welcomed in with open arms by the staff that made me feel like I was right at home. As I would get my vitals taken, the nurses would joke and make small talk with me, which just made the environment so much more comfortable. After learning more about birth control from my doctor, I decided to try it out and see how it would work for me. Once I started using it, my cramps completely went away and my acne wasn't severe as it originally was. I felt like I could live my life without being in crippling pain during my period or my acne affecting my self-confidence as it heavily once did. I started going to the center for all my medical care, but I didn't realize at the time how much support they would provide me later on in my adult years. As I got into my junior and senior years of high school, I went through some personal rough patches. I was in a relationship with someone who didn't respect me, and it made me feel confused and heartbroken. As an individual whose life motto is to live with only pure intentions, I couldn't understand why I stayed in a relationship with someone who didn't respect me and emotionally abused me. I found it difficult to set boundaries with others. I was always told, you have your life together, things will pass and get better. I tried to believe it, but I felt like there was no way out. I fell into depression. I no longer had that twinkle in my eye that people knew me for. I felt a wave of sadness overcome me every day. The music that once made me want to sing out loud no longer piqued my interest. I was empty and broken. This was especially hard for me because I had dealt with so much in my past and I was never one to be weak. I couldn't understand why I couldn't handle things. I felt like all the adults in my life would judge me if I spoke to them about what I was going through. Family lets their emotions get into their advice, and my friends were just as confused and sad as I was during that time. Overall, I was just stuck. I decided to seek out therapy, which was very hard for me to do as a person of color. It is viewed as taboo to be in therapy when you're a Hispanic woman because we are taught to be strong and able to get over anything without any help. But thankfully, I was able to fight past that and seek help. I spoke with my general doctor about getting help with my mental health because I knew I wasn't in a good space. She explained to me that the center has therapists I would be able to speak to that can help me get through a lot of the pain that I was dealing with. She connected me to my therapist, Rachel Colon, who I see till this day. And because of the therapy I received at the Adolescent Health Center, I now understand that it is okay to allow ourselves to be vulnerable, and that it is all right to admit you are not okay. Although at times I still struggle with accepting my emotions, I understand that we are human and we go through tough times in our lives, and it is okay to seek help. I also now know how to set boundaries with others around me. Often when I told my therapist what someone had said or done, she would tell me it is not okay for others to treat you that way. Sometimes you need someone to point out certain behavior that isn't okay before you realize that yourself. My therapist helped me leave that toxic relationship. I have a bad habit of being a people pleaser, which does not pay off in the long run because it allows people to take advantage of my kindness. but that can't happen if I don't allow them. Setting boundaries has also helped me deal with the anxiety I've developed over the COVID-19 pandemic. After going to therapy for about 3 years on and off, I was doing much better and decided to take a break. But once I started college, I had a hard time handling the change and the family conflict that accompanied my moving out. The first time I had a panic attack, I was a barista making drinks at my job, and all of a sudden I felt this tingling all over my body, and my heart was racing at a pace I had never felt before. I swore I was going to die of a heart attack because of how painful it felt. Once I learned it was a panic attack, I knew it had to do with bottling up everything I had been going through during my college career. I knew I had to go back to therapy, so I talked to my doctor about it. My therapist helped me so much with learning how to cope with my anxiety in a healthy manner because I knew I could have gone down a terrible path. If I didn't reach out and seek help once again, I would have turned to alcohol to numb my emotions. My therapist taught me how to write down what I was feeling, how to breathe through panic attacks, and how to reassure myself that I'm okay. I still use those techniques today. To this day, I still see my therapist weekly, and she continues to help me conquer the fears of life's unknowns. She constantly reassures me that my life is what I decide to make of it. I tend to be hard on myself sometimes, but I'm learning how to be forgiving of myself, and it's helped me get through a lot of hard times in the recent years. In addition to getting mental health support from Mount Sinai Adolescent Health Center, I received bariatric surgery from Mount Sinai's Health Systems Dr. Edward Chin back in February of this year. I can proudly say since then I've lost over 100 pounds. The surgery not only changed my life, but boosted my self-confidence significantly and helped me to avoid any future complications in relation to my former weight. My relationship with food has been repaired thanks to my nutritionist, and I now live a much healthier lifestyle than before. I graduated from the City College of New York with my bachelor's degree in popular music studies last May. I currently work at Apple as a specialist and mentor for new hires and at the Beacon Theater in guest relations. And I continue to pursue those dreams of becoming a singer-songwriter, because when you have an amazing team of people not only supporting your physical and your mental health, you are capable of doing anything. Yes. Thank you.